All right, welcome in to a March Madness special episode of the
Yeah.
Don't Tell Mama Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cobold, here as always with my guy, Max Faulkner. Max, we're here into the Sweet 16.
Whew.
What do you think about those games this past weekend? 4 days full of games. How are you feeling this week?
Well, I'll tell you, there's nothing better than watching those games when you have a quad happening, you have four TVs. Hopefully you're able to figure out how to get four games on at the same
Yeah,
time. Best way
yeah.
to do it. My wife
Oh,
was getting into it as well. You kidding
heck
me?
yeah,
I
heck
am
yeah.
so lucky. She's getting pumped up, getting sweaty about it,
I'm sweaty.
freaking out about it. It was just a great weekend. How about yourself, Cole Breezy? You had to enjoy, right?
Great weekend, great weekend. As you say, Claudia got into the bracket, Kelly got in the bracket. People that don't usually watch games on a weekly or nightly basis, they're doing brackets.
Yeah.
They're getting into it. I always used to get my grandparents to do a bracket, so they'd always get into it in March with me. So March is a great time. My birthday was this past week, and so
Happy birthday, Cole
hey,
Breezy. Happy
thank you.
birthday.
And spring is here. So March is my favorite month. It's a great time for me. Um, and Max, we saw a lot of upsets this week.
Yeah.
What was your big dog upset?
Of course, of course. If anyone is noticing, I'm not wearing any Purdue gear.
Oh, just a plain shirt
Put
today.
put those away for the winter.
The
Put those
hats,
away for the
no,
winter.
changed his hat, plain shirt today.
Yep. Plain shirt. I got a Mario hat on. I couldn't figure out what team to wear. I was like, you know what? I'm not. What am I doing here? So I just put my Mario hat on. Um, man, Purdue. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? There's nothing else to say. Let's go back to Friday. Okay, I'm 8 for 8 to lead off the day on my picks as far
Hot,
as my bracket
hot,
goes. 8 for 8. I'm red
hot,
hot. Okay,
on
I,
fire.
I did. Okay, let's skip a little towards the end of the day. All right, I had 15 out of 16 picks correct on Friday.
That's
What
damn
was
good.
that one loss?
Yeah,
You fucking kidding me?
you got to remind me. You got to remind me.
Purdue lost to FDU. I am so pissed off. No one's ever heard of Fairleigh Dickinson. I never
Oh
heard of him.
man.
Not once.
Oh man. Northeast Conference, the Knights, Fairleigh Dickinson, biggest upset. The second ever 16 seed over a one. If we look, the Vegas spread on that game was 23.5 points. And if you go back to last week, I said hammer it, and I hammered it. So I lost some money on that game. 23.5 points is the largest upset in NCAA tournament history. Now you say, oh, what about UMBC over Virginia? That was only 20.5. So this Fairleigh Dickinson upset over Purdue is literally the biggest upset in March Madness history.
Well, one thing that I will say, just so I can hype up Purdue just a little bit, at least they didn't lose by 20 like Virginia
Oh,
did to UMBC. All
good
right.
point.
They
Good
didn't
point.
lose by 20, they lost by 3. All right. So,
The
um, but but it just to move forward, like this is the kind of day I was having. All right, it was a great start to the day. Purdue ends up losing, and I was sweating the entire game. I was out of
Oh, I'm sure.
ears. I had some
Pissed,
anger. I had a big
pissed.
problem with that loss. I walked out of the room. I had to take a moment for myself. It was St. Patty's Day, right? It was St. Patty's Day, so I was
Friday.
getting my corned beef in the crock pot ready. Now, the recipe online said it was only going to take 4 to 5 hours. I should have read the package. The package said it's going to take 10 hours.
Ooh,
So after the
double.
Purdue game, I was like, oh, you know what? At least I got corned beef. At least I
Nope.
got some corned beef ready to go.
Nope.
Nope, nope. Cooking that corned beef until midnight. That was the kind of day I was having. I was starving all day. Starving all day.
Oh,
My mouth watering, my pit sweating.
damn. Damn. Damn.
So,
That's an awful Friday for you.
but the last thing I just wanted to talk about with Purdue so we can move on and get back on a happier note here is that I want to talk about Matt Painter real quick. Okay,
Okay.
Matt Painter, dude, as much as I think that you are a great coach in the regular season,
Ah.
You do not know how to prep up your players for the playoffs. This is inexcusable. It's inexcusable that there's no reason that these guys should have beat us, obviously. I think like, hey, Fairleigh Dickinson, good job. Great win. You made history. I'm
Gotta
Purdue
respect
played
it.
like shit.
Gotta
Purdue
respect it.
played like shit. And they had wide open shots. I literally saw Mason Gillis receive a pass from Edie.
Oh,
No one's around him. Yeah, I think he looked
nobody.
left and right. He might have looked
Nobody.
left, right, and be like, "Oh shit, I'm open." He
Nobody.
takes the shot, air ball. He was short. It wasn't even long. It was
The boys were
short.
scared. The boys were scared. The boys didn't want it. There were loose balls. There were loose balls, and Fairleigh
Didn't want it.
Dickinson got every loose ball.
Didn't want
They
it.
wanted it more. They wanted it more.
There was only one player that played well. It was obviously Zach Edey. He can't do it all, especially when he's triple teamed. When he gets triple teamed, make your fucking shots. You're wide
You're right.
open. Why are
You're
you
right.
missing layups? Why are we turning over the ball? Like, so, hey, Matt Painter, that's what you got to figure out for your like. You got over 400 wins in the regular season. That's great, but can you
Sure.
figure out how to get some wins to get to a Final Four?
Yeah.
Until the Purdue reaches a Final Four, I will never in my bracket put them in the Final Four. They have to prove to me they can make it before I start putting them in there again. Because I'm not buying these rankings. I'm not buying them. If Purdue's number one next year, I might have them losing in the round of 32. Because I'll tell you right now, that I am not impressed by Matt Painter's history inside of the dance. Yeah, you made Sweet 16s. Good fucking for you. FAU made the Sweet 16 this year. Teams that you never. Princeton made the Sweet 16 this year. Good for good teams, good teams. But that's I'm done. I'm done before I get frustrated and sweaty. Purdue,
Well,
you
I
broke my. I feel like a part of my soul was taken out. I had to get on my
oh
knees and I
oh
prayed to Jesus, Lord, baby
oh
Jesus. I said, Jesus, please let me forgive them. Just let me forget about the
man.
game. Just,
Oh
just take it out of me. Just please, please. And
what
well, it
what
always helps. But Purdue really, really stomped on my heart again this year. So
are those knees rug burned?
it was worth it. It was worth it.
Well, I'm definitely not done talking about Purdue. We're gonna bring him up a little bit later, but just to finish a little bit of talk on Matt Painter. 17 seasons with the Boilers. He's been to 14 tournaments. That's pretty solid. Um, do you think I don't know what his contract's looking like, but are they like we're not going to extend Matt Painter because of this, or is that what the head people at Purdue are thinking?
I'm doubting it. I think that they're gonna once again. He's a great regular season coach. So
Sure,
when you have 400 wins, that's a pretty hell of a resume, if you ask me.
it
He
is.
has a high winning
It is.
percentage, but it's they're no, they're gonna resign him, and it's fine. He's he's a good regular season coach. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, he's a good regular season coach for sure. Just a couple nuggets before we get into some regions here. This past this first round was the most watched first round in tournament history. So we got more fans than ever for these upset games and for these that Thursday 16 games and the 16 games on Friday.
All right.
And then there are 11 different conferences represented in the Sweet 16. I think that's a lot of conferences. You got three teams in the SEC, you got three teams in the Big East, two from the Big 12, and then everybody else is one bid leagues.
Well,
I think 11 conferences being represented is pretty solid. Parity. There's parity in college basketball.
oh, that's great. I love it. I love this Sweet 16, by the way. I think I got 9 in the Sweet 16 right now. Not 9,
Okay.
correct? I believe so.
Okay.
I'll have to double check that
You
before we get started
yeah, you better
talking
check
about it.
that too.
But these are fun games. Like every single game here is going to be a great ball game. We have a lot to talk about today, Go Breezy.
We got a
And
lot. We
hey,
got a lot to talk about. I'm sitting up higher in my seat. I'm ready to get into this. You talked about your playing shirt today. I just want to show off my shirt. Kelly, my wonderful wife, got me a shirt at the Denver second round. We're gonna see some clips later from the Baylor Creighton game and the Gonzaga TCU game. So Kelly got me a shirt for my birthday, so I had to wear it for the pod. Nice Under Armour,
nice,
smooth.
nice.
But before we get into this regions, last thing here, our bracket our pool. We ended up with 32 people this year. So 20 bones a person, 640 in the pot.
Yeah.
And right now, with the first and second rounds done, we're into the Sweet 16 here. Right now, Travis Lee, T Sizzle, my guy from IUPUI, he's sitting in first place with 440 points.
Nice.
So shout out Travis. But I will say he's got Kansas winning it all. So I wouldn't be confident, Travis. I wouldn't be confident in the rest of your pool, the rest of your
Man.
bracket.
Speaking
And
of Kansas, real quick, breezy, since I just had a nice little talk about Purdue, do you want to talk about Kansas right now, or are you still holding it back? Still
you know,
haven't vented it out yet.
I was avoiding it. I think I was avoiding it. I didn't I guess right there. Thanks, Travis. Thanks for helping me bring up my Jayhawks. But as we all know, 1 point loss to the Razorbacks. If you look at the box score, if you look at the team stats, we shot way better. We shot way better from three. I think they shot I think Arkansas shot 3 for 15 from three, and this was the biggest stat for me. Arkansas only led this game for 1 minute and 43 seconds. That's the Kansas.
Amazing.
Kansas led this whole game. Damn it.
Gosh, that's why I love basketball. You can never count a team out. They could be down by 20, and then just that last minute and 30 seconds, they come back. Or throughout the game, they have to come back. But then
they got an offensive rebound off a free throw and got fouled again. Speaking of offensive rebounds, they got 15 offensive rebounds, Arkansas. They were banging the boards.
Yeah.
They had a 36-29 rebound advantage. I was nervous about UConn banging Kansas on the boards. Well, guess what? Arkansas got us first. And this is a fun stat here. The defending champion hasn't made the Sweet 16 since 2016.
Oh, wow. That is a stat. Wow, really?
So Duke won in Indianapolis 2015. They went to the Sweet 16 the next year. We haven't seen a defending champ go to the Sweet 16 the following season.
Oh.
That's parity. You can't go back to back. You can't do it. You can't do it.
Hard. So hard to do that.
Did
Florida do that? Really quick, Florida back in early 2000s with Joakim Noah.
06, 07.
Yeah. They had back-to-backers.
Joakim, that was the last team to do it with Billy Donovan, Joakim Noah, Al Horford, Torian Green, Corey Brewer, Lee Humphrey, the white guy shooting.
How about that? Yeah.
That was the last team to go back-to-back. It just doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
Bill Self not being there. Shout out to Bill. Prayers to you. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
I don't want to say if Bill Self was coaching, we would have won, because that's disrespectful to Norm Roberts. That's disrespectful to the guy that coaching the game. It's hard not to say that the best coach in the game's not there. It's hard not to say.
At one point, I think Bill Self might have had a timeout in there. Other than
an adjustment, tweak something different, and that's no disrespect to Norm Roberts. He's a fine coach in his own right.
Sure.
But Jalen Wilson, shout out to him, probably second in player of the year this year, led the Big 12 in scoring and rebounding. He's gone, and rebounding. Yeah, he's gone. Wow. Grady Dick, he's rising up mock draft boards. He's looking like he could be a top 15 pick in the draft. So Grady Dick's probably gone.
One in numbers, man.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I think Kevin McCullough's done, and then I think everybody else has eligibility, but who knows? Disappointing to lose to Arkansas. If you watched this podcast last week, the Don't Tell Mama Sports podcast, you heard here that I said Arkansas was going to give us a game, and damn it, they did. And they stole her at the end. Only led for 1:43 for the whole game, Arkansas Razorbacks. Shout out to Eric Musselman. 3 straight Sweet 16s. He's back-to-back Elite Eights. Back-to-back Elite Eights.
He's a hell of a coach. Did you see him take off his shirt? Dude, this guy's fucking awesome. What a badass coach.
On the sports stage.
You gotta have some balls to take down Kansas and take your fucking shirt off and then jump into the state. Yeah. Oh, what a badass.
And then start calling the Hogs. Yeah. We
Um,
we we got to get Sam Belkis, Queef Sam, on here to do a hog call for us because he knows.
oh yeah, okay. Um, the last thing that I'll say about Kansas, just for you, that's not a bad loss, man. Just to make you feel better, Arkansas is a great team. They
They
are
were,
a good team, and great coach, dude. They are athletic. Watch Arkansas play. They played it today? They playing today? Might be tomorrow.
oh boys, Arkansas is
But
playing today. Arkansas
they
is
are
playing today,
aggressive.
Thursday.
Thursday, nice.
Yep,
They are aggressive. They are diving on the floor. The offensive rebound numbers that they had against Kansas, that's outstanding. Like they are just
15.
banging bodies. Like
Yeah,
this is a physical team, and that's basketball, man. I
mhm,
just they're a definition of the team that I love to watch is because they're
yeah,
physical. They get into each other, and they will
yeah.
do anything to win that game. College
Hell yeah.
basketball, baby. You're not going to see this in the NBA.
you're you're right. You're not. We're gonna get into Arkansas a little bit more in a bit. I don't think I have anything else on Kansas, so I'm disappointed. Thought it was an easy Sweet 16. I didn't think a Elite Eight was given. I didn't think a win over UConn was an easy win. I didn't think that. But a Sweet 16, come on, as a one seed, that's what you
Yeah,
expect.
yeah.
Let's get in these regions, Max. Uh, I want to start right in the East. I know you don't want to talk about the Boilers anymore, but I got a couple stats on the Knights from
Damn
Fairleigh
it.
Dickinson. Okay, you watched this podcast last week, the Don't Tell Mama Sports podcast. You can subscribe on YouTube. You heard us say how small these Knights were. They're so small. They're the smallest team in Division One. Smallest team in Division One, the Fairleigh Dickinson Knights. Okay, last season they were 4-22. They won 4 fucking games last year, boys.
Why to turn around?
And if we remember, now so many games have happened, so much madness in March has gone down. These guys didn't even win their conference tournament, the
Oh,
NEC tournament. Merrimack won. So Merrimack is making a transition in Division One. Stupid NCAA rule. You have
so
to sit out.
stupid. So
So
stupid.
stupid. You have to sit out postseason competition for 4 years
So
if you
so
transition to
stupid.
D4.
That doesn't make any sense. If a team was to go down, like say, hey, we're Division One, we're gonna go down to
Exactly.
Division Two, that makes sense. But a team that comes from
Exactly.
a Division Two to Division One, put immediately they should be eligible. That's so stupid.
For 4 years they have to sit out. So
Must be a
I got
money thing.
you know
Something
you
stupid like that.
I got a lot of guys at NCAA, but this is a stupid rule. Um,
STOOPID NCAA.
oh,
Stupid.
double O.
Double
So
O.
so Merrimack won the NEC tournament. So Fairleigh Dickinson shouldn't even really have been in March Madness.
Yeah.
And Max, this one's gonna shock you. Zach Edey, the player of the year, the big
Yeah.
dog, with all these little guys guarding him. This guy didn't attempt a shot in the last 8 minutes and 30 seconds. 8.5 minutes, this guy didn't shoot the fucking ball.
Are they insane? Look at my hair. I feel like I'm fucking Albert Einstein,
Don't pull
like
it
pulling
out.
my hair out. Are
Don't
you
pull it out.
kidding me? This is the player of the year. How are you not taking a shot?
Before you get ripped up, he didn't attempt a shot in the last 8.5 minutes, and he only had one shot attempt in the last 13 and a half. One shot attempt in the last 13 and a half minutes. Whose fault is that? Who are you blaming that on the most?
Coach. I'm blaming it on the coach. I'm telling you right now, it's Matt Painter. Matt Painter, you call a timeout. You tell everyone, hey, we're moving the ball around and we're getting the ball to Edey. Edey, post your big ass up and make a move immediately. Turn and go. You're half their size. I'm sorry, you are double the size of them.
Man,
Just turn and do a hook shot. Like,
my
man,
heart's beating. My heart's beating right now.
that
One
doesn't make
shot
any
attempt for the player of the year in the last 13 and a half minutes.
doesn't make any sense. How many 3-pointers Purdue shot too? They shot, I believe, under 13% from three
That,
pointer, if I'm
that's
not
what
mistaken.
that's what plagued them all year. That's what plagued them all year. That's all I got on the Boilers.
Hey,
Do you suspend Painter for the first 4 games next season because of this?
Painter's got to go. Go hit the gym. Go hit the gym. All right, go do some push-ups, lose some weight a little bit, and figure out how
Oh,
you can keep on running your team into a Elite Eight Final Four run. How about that? Okay. One last stat on Fairleigh Dickinson because I have the note card here. How many teams are in the in college basketball called Breezy?
I believe 363 Division One teams.
Okay. Strength of schedule for Fairleigh Dickinson. What do you think it is?
Oh boy, 350.
362. You lost to one of the worst teams as far as strength of schedule goes. Good job, Purdue. Breaking hearts of so many Boiler fans.
I'm gonna nominate right now that Matt Painter be suspended for the first 4 games of next season. Last thing on Purdue, does Zach Edey return for another season next year, Max?
Yes, I do believe it's not just because I want him to. I think he's going to. These are the reasons why. Real quick, first of all, he does have Asian descent in him. Okay, I had a long conversation about this with my wife. Asian mothers, they are very strict when it comes to schooling. It is the truth. It is the truth. And he's gonna graduate. Okay, he has one more year to graduate. And his mom's gonna be like, no, you're gonna finish, and you're gonna be dominating again. But also, when it comes to the NBA, he is not going to be what you think in the NBA at 7'4". He's going to be coming off the bench.
Boban?
He's only going to be I was going to say that, so you're already ahead of me. He's going to be a Boban Marjanovic. That's it. And if I was him, I would not be excited for that. I would be ready to get my degree. So you can go to the NBA, get some millions of dollars, use that money to start a business or something. How about that?
Yeah, get paid for a couple of years, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Boban's been in the NBA for years.
Yeah, now he's got State Farm commercials, so good for him.
Oh yeah. Moving on, going through that East Regional, we saw FAU, Florida Atlantic take down Memphis in a close one. You got
That was
anything there?
fun.
That
That
was
was
a
fun.
last second finger roll, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
by Florida Atlantic. That was chaos there at the end. That was chaos.
Oh, technical foul was called. The tip-ins, it was like back to back
It was a lot.
tip-ins.
It was a lot.
That was a fun game.
It was a lot.
I was all for that. That made me feel better after Purdue's loss because I
Oh,
picked it for you.
sure. That I picked Memphis in that one, so I lost that one. But then we saw FAU beat Fairleigh Dickinson. So Florida Atlantic goes to the Sweet 16 as a 9 seed. Shout out to the Owls. You got anything on Florida Atlantic right now?
I love the team name Owls. Okay, how
Owls.
about something fresh, something new,
Go
something
Owls.
different that we've been talking about, right?
Not the only Owl in the tournament actually this year though. So let's not sleep on that.
I like this team. I like Florida Atlantic. They're 33-3, including the 2 wins that they just had. Like I brought up before, is that they're 7 deep. They have 7 players that 2 guys coming off the bench, 3 experience. They're red hot too. They're red hot. So it's gonna be a good game against Tennessee, boys.
Yeah, we'll get into that. For sure.
Oh yeah.
Next game we had Duke and Oral Roberts. You were on here spitting shit about Oral Roberts going nuts, and I want to say it was like 17-0, 19-0 to start the game. Duke overwhelmed them.
That was the worst pick that I had in my picks, no doubt.
And then Tennessee didn't really struggle with the Raging Cajuns from Louisiana. And then we saw
they did. It came down to a 2-point game, by the way.
Okay.
It came down to a 2-point game.
Okay.
I think they only won by 3.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, sorry. That's fair. But then we saw Tennessee just beat the shit out of Duke. I think it was 14 on the scoreboard, but they really pounded them. Duke is bloodied and bruised. The 52 points Duke scored is actually tied for the lowest ever in the tournament for Duke. 52 points. We've been shitting on Tennessee for a while, how their offense sucks, but their defense is so crazy, and now they're in the Sweet 16.
So good. I am sorry, Rick Barnes. You're this defense is for real, and oh man, I love it. Defense like them. They're huge. They're huge, and they get another physical basketball team.
They've been in the weight room.
Hey, the huge reason why I was counting them out because they're missing their point guard Ziegler, but I mean, come on now. They look great without him. So I slept on Tennessee. Sorry about that. Everybody. I didn't. That's on me.
I had them winning 1, so let's make that clear. I had them win their first game.
I had them getting upset.
I didn't disrespect Rick Barnes like you.
I love my upsets.
Sure, that's what the madness is about, baby. Then bottom half of the East region, we saw Kentucky take down Providence, and we saw K-State take down Montana State.
Mhm.
And then moving on, that was a great game. I believe on Sunday, K-State took down Kentucky.
Oof, great
K-State,
game. Great game.
K-State and Jerome Tang in the Sweet 16 in his first season.
Awesome. Good coach.
And
He did have 5 experienced players passed on to him, including 2 guys that are on the Wooden Watch list. So I'm
sure,
curious to see how they're going to do next year. But
sure.
great first season, and I've been bragging about Kansas State all year. I think they're really good, but I did have them losing to Kentucky because I thought Kentucky. But I think you're right about Calipari, Breezy. I think you're right what you said about him last week.
Yeah, dude, if you didn't watch the Don't Tell Mama Sports podcast last week, we talked a little bit about John Calipari. That clip's going to come soon. Moving to the bottom of the East, we saw Michigan State take down USC in a tight one. I believe that was the first game on Friday. That was a sexy
Oh
one
yeah.
on the Big Dog.
Oh yeah.
And then Marquette handled Vermont. And then on Sunday, we saw Michigan State take down Marquette in a huge 7-2 upset. We pulled out that stat last week.
Yeah.
What was that stat about 7s and 2s? I'm looking back.
Yeah. Michigan State had a hell of a game.
So not including this tournament, the last 7 tournaments, 2 seeds were 7 and 8 against 7 seeds. So 2 seeds had a losing record against 7 seeds, and I
Yeah.
rode that record. I took Michigan State. That clip's getting a little bit of views, by the way. I want to
Good.
shout.
You should.
Yeah, it should. I want to take a second here to shout out Tom Izzo, and if he's not in your top 3 coaches in the nation, then I don't want to talk to you. It's
Now that
disrespectful.
Now that's a coach. Hey, Matt Painter, here's a little advice. Watch Tom Izzo coach because he knows how to win in the playoffs. You can beat him all you want in the season. Go
Sure,
ahead. Go ahead and do it. But guess what? When it comes to the playoffs, that's when it actually matters. And
it comes to
Tom
March.
Izzo's a hell of a coach.
Tom Izzo's a hell of a coach. A couple nuggets for you on Tom Izzo. Listen up to these. He's 19-5 in the first round. Okay, he handles that first game. 19-5.
Cool.
He has 16 wins as the lower seeded team, which is the best ever.
Damn.
16 wins.
Prepares his players.
16 wins as the lower seeded team, most of any coach. This is his 15th Sweet 16, which is tied for 6th all time. And this is his 3rd time in the Sweet 16 as a 7 seed. 3rd time in the Sweet 16 as a 7 seed.
Wow.
And lastly about Tom Izzo, he's the only coach left that has a national championship. So, Max, that leads us right into our Sweet 16 picks here for the East region. Let's just start right here with Michigan State and Tom Izzo taking on Kansas State and the Wildcats. Jerome Tang leading the Wildcats to the Sweet 16 in his first season. Max, I'm not changing off my bracket here. I'm not getting nervous. I had this Michigan State Kansas State matchup. I got Michigan State in my bracket. I'm not moving off that. Tom Izzo gets it done, keeps it moving. Who you got in this game, Max?
So I didn't have either of these guys. I had Kentucky versus Marquette. So just looking at the numbers, it's a pretty evenly matched game. It's going to be a really good one. But you know what? I'm riding that train with you, man. Michigan State, Tom Izzo, he's been like you just named all the stats. Been there, done that. They have 3 big dogs on the team with senior leadership. AJ Hogarth's a junior, but he might as well be a senior. That guy is a leader on the court. Yeah. I got Michigan State. I think they got him.
Awesome. That game is actually our first game tonight, Thursday. 4:30 Mountain Time tip.
Ooh,
is that Michigan State, Kansas State. That's our first game tonight. In the doubleheader there in that regional, the other game, we got the Owls from Florida Atlantic taking on Tennessee and Rick Barnes. Max, obviously nobody had this matchup, including us. Can the Owls keep it going here and take down Tennessee? We talk about how their offense is so bad, but can Florida Atlantic handle that defensive pressure?
I think this is going to be really fun. I think this game's going to be really good. Florida Atlantic is very good at scoring. They're 28th in the league in scoring. Okay, so keep that in mind. They're 7 deep, but I'll tell you right now, the way that Tennessee has been playing with that defense, I had to continue to ride with. I'm going to give them a little bit of respect now, and I'm going to
Now
ride
you're
with
respecting
Tennessee.
them.
Now I'm respecting them after I didn't
Okay.
choose them.
Okay.
I like the Owls. I think once again, I think it's going to be a good game, but I think defense here is gonna take the lead on them.
Shout out to Florida Atlantic, now 33-3. I don't care who you are, where you play, who you play. If you win 33 games, you're taking care of business.
Oh yeah,
That's pretty good. But you're not going to beat Tennessee. That we didn't respect Tennessee, and I think Rick Barnes is going to take him to the Elite Eight. So shout out Tennessee, and then that'd be a Tennessee-Michigan State matchup there in the Elite Eight. And in my bracket, I have Michigan State moving on to the Final Four. So why in the heck would I move off of that right now? Kansas State is very good and can very well beat them tonight. But damn it, I'm sticking with Tom Izzo right into the Final Four. Max, who you got out of this region in your repick?
I'm gonna ride with you.
Let's go.
I think so. Michigan State's, they're no scrub on defense either. They play defense, so if they go up against a Tennessee team that struggles to score, actually Tennessee is averaging more points per game than Michigan State, so it's going to be a defensive game. But
that's going to be definitely a defensive game for sure.
But I think the big dogs from Michigan State will, and as well as Tom Izzo's a better coach than Rick Barnes, but Rick Barnes is really good. He's a really good coach. I got Michigan State. Good pick for the Final Four. That was.
You. Not many people, I don't think, have Michigan State going to the Final Four. So if that happens, you're going to be looking at Cole Breezy at the top of the standings.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Update on that though, you and I are actually in 4th in the bracket pool, Max, at 420 points. So just 20 points behind T Sizzle. So we're right there.
Right there. Oh yeah. You're watching these games nonstop, making sure I'm rooting on the teams that are going to give me those points. Come on.
Hell yeah.
Well, as well as everyone out there, come on. Don't give up on your brackets. You might still be there. You could be at you could be at 12. You could be at 12th right now, but only like a point behind.
Oh man, these if you're playing on the tournament challenge on ESPN, these games tonight are worth a lot of points. So be ready.
Oh yeah.
Let's hop over to the West Regional, Max,
okay.
where I don't have anything else to say about Kansas being taken down by Arkansas. We saw Kansas take down the Bison of Howard. Shout out Howard for getting there for the first time since 1992, but you got your ass beat in the first round. And then Arkansas took down Illinois. And then that barn burner on Saturday, Arkansas taking down Kansas. Max, I ain't got anything else. But shout out Eric Musselman, good win.
Yeah, keep your shirt on, but take it off if you win. If you want, go for it.
Moving along in that West Regional, the 5-12 matchup was St. Mary's and VCU, and then the 4-13 was UConn and Iona. We saw UConn smack, St. Mary's handled VCU, and then we saw UConn double digits over St. Mary's. I believe double digits in both games. UConn is looking like a sexy team. Adama Sonogo is hard to handle down there.
Oh yeah, dude. Sonogo averaging about 17 points per game, right? He shoots 59.4% from the field. Like that's 78% from the free throw line.
Shoulders.
This big guy, and he shoots from the 3-pointer at 35%. This guy's dominating.
Shoulders. Going on to the bottom of the West, TCU took down Arizona State in a close one. It was a heartbreaker for Rich Payton, my father-in-law. It was a heartbreaker for Arizona State. TCU moved on, and then we saw Gonzaga take down the Antelopes of Grand Canyon. And then we saw Gonzaga take down TCU. And the TCU wasn't afraid. They had a lead early, and second half rolls around. Mike Miles had a good step back. And then he scored again with a nice little floater. Mike Miles is really good. He's bigger than I thought he was. Anything from you on Mike Miles?
Good player, great player. Yeah, definitely muscular. Not afraid to go and attack the hoop. So hopefully he can play at the next level. But well, we'll see. We'll see about those guys.
Yeah, we'll see. Hope he comes back. But he
Wait, I thought he was a senior, not a senior.
I think he's got another year because of
Oh,
COVID.
the eligibility.
I think he has another year.
Oh, okay.
We'll
Well,
have,
good. I hope he does come back. Great.
we'll have to look it up. But
Yeah,
he finished with 24 points. He was balling, but it wasn't enough to take down Drew Timme, the big dog for the Zags.
he's
He had
awesome.
28 points, 8 rebounds. He's a leader on and off the floor. Good guy to listen to. He's got his own podcast.
How does he?
I haven't heard it. I haven't heard anything of it, but I know he has his own podcast. Anything about Drew Timme from you?
Hey, shout out Drew Timmy's podcast. I would like to listen to him. This guy is such a smart basketball player. I love just seeing smart players. Like there's those aggressive players. There's those guys that attack the hoop, that can score. But then you just have those guys that just think before they do, and they
Footwork.
look up on the floor who is open, and then they make their move. Like
Yeah.
Drew Timmy is a smart basketball player, and that's why I have Gonzaga going pretty far here in this dance.
Yeah. Well, I can agree with you. Not as far as you, but we Drew Drew Timme. You see him doing the interview with his arm around Andy Katz after the game, shooting the shit. And here's Mike Miles crying at the free throw line while the Zags are celebrating their 8th consecutive Sweet 16 appearance. I believe that's the 3rd longest in the history of March Madness. So
Wow,
shout out Mark Few, shout out
good
Drew
coach,
Timme. You guys
good
are
coach.
moving on. You guys are moving on to the Sweet 16. Congrats. And then the bottom of the West, we saw Northwestern take down Boise State,
Mhm.
and UCLA really pound, I believe, UNC Asheville.
Yeah, oh
And
yeah,
then we saw UCLA beat Northwestern. That was a single digit
it was
game.
a tight one. That was a tight game.
Northwestern gave him a little
Mhm.
run there. But no surprise here. We got a huge matchup in the West at the bottom, the Sweet 16. This baby's tonight. This baby's the last game tonight, Thursday. Gonzaga and UCLA. We got a rematch from 2006 when UCLA knocked out Adam Morrison. You see him crying on the floor.
Yep, yep.
And then 2021, Jalen Suggs, the half court shot in the Final Four to beat UCLA. So this baby's really a rubber match here. Max, I'm going to start us out, and I'm going with Drew Timme and Mark Few and the Zags to take down UCLA. I think the Jalen Clark injury
Yeah.
really it shows up here against the Zags. I got him in my bracket. I'm not coming off that.
Yeah, I had UCLA going to the Sweet 16 against Gonzaga myself, and I do have Gonzaga taking down UCLA specifically because of the Clark situation as well. UCLA is a hell of a team, okay, but Gonzaga is a better team. They're just better. They
Yeah,
are a better team. I
got more
think they
guys.
have the players that they need. Once again, I brought this up in last podcast that this is the first year that Gonzaga has actually had experience on the team. They have 5 guys that are at least a junior or a senior. They go 6 deep in their lineup. I don't think UCLA is going to be able to keep up with them. I think it will be a close game because UCLA plays defense, but Gonzaga's offense is really good with that senior leadership from Drew Timme.
Drew Timme is going to lead the Bulldogs over the Bruins tonight. That's the last game tonight. That baby's a juicy one.
I can't wait for that.
The
Have
other,
that on, everybody. Yeesh.
please, the other Sweet 16 matchup in the West Regional. We got Arkansas. They're the 8 seed taking on UConn. Max, I know Arkansas got 15 offensive rebounds against Kansas. but Kansas is small up front. Connecticut is huge.
Yeah.
Adama Sonogo,
Yep.
Donovan Clingan off the bench, 7'2" freshman. I got UConn moving on to the Elite Eight.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, I had UConn upsetting Kansas. Okay, I thought UConn since the beginning of the season it was a great team, and yeah, their size. It's going to be an aggressive game. Okay, this is the game where both teams are going to be bleeding out of the mouth. All right, two teeth might be spit out on the court.
Yeah,
Okay,
nice,
this is going to be that bruiser game. I'm telling you. But I
nice.
am going UConn. I'm sticking with UConn. Okay, they are going to take down Arkansas today. But I cannot wait for this bloodbath because it's pretty evenly matched. It's gonna be fun. It's
Yeah,
gonna be really good.
yeah. Like we said, those games are tonight on Thursday. So we both have a Gonzaga UConn matchup in our re-bracket. You had it in your original bracket, so shout out to you. Max, you lead us off here. Who is your Final Four pick out of this region?
Oh man, that Gonzaga UConn, that's such a great matchup. Oh my goodness. But hey, Gonzaga's big too. Gonzaga is big. Okay, they have some smart players on that team. UConn, hey, I like the coach. I think this new coach is really good. But I'm gonna go with coaching on this one, the Mark Few. Mark Few, I don't think he gets enough credit because he's in that West Coast Conference, and I get it. I get it. There's no competition in a way,
The
but
Gales?
I keep
The
saying it.
Gales?
Gonzaga is a different team this year. I got Gonzaga beating UConn.
Nice. Well, let's have a little respect for the Gales in the West Coast Conference. I I gotta agree with you. Danny Hurley has not been here in March,
Not yet.
and Mark Few has Final Four in 21, and I believe in 2017 went to the championship game in both of those years. I think Gonzaga has a shot to get to the Final Four here.
Oh yeah.
Shout out Zags. Let's move. Let's move to the South here, Max, and we saw Alabama take down Texas A&M Corpus Christi pretty easily.
Easily.
And then we saw Maryland come back from a big deficit and beat West Virginia in the first game on Thursday. And then Alabama took care of Maryland.
Smash them. Smash them.
Shout out Alabama, Sweet 16. We both had it. Not surprised.
No.
Moving on in the South Regional, we saw San Diego State take down Charleston and Furman upset Virginia. Now,
Awesome.
that's a top 3 upset of the tournament. Furman. That's a top 3 upset.
Yeah.
13 over a 4. That Kihei Clark is double teamed and just tosses one up.
What?
Just tosses one up. Big steal by the Paladins. They get it up to JP Pegues. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Pegues. Okay. This guy had missed 15 straight threes. Pegues. Over the course of how many games? He missed 15 straight, and he had the balls to catch this baby, turn and fire, knocked it down. It was his only 3 of the game. Furman, the Paladins, we both called it, beat Virginia. Virginia's so damn boring, and they went down in the first round again.
Dude, that might have been one of the most exciting games. I mean, most exciting shots. I think we can agree.
Yeah.
That game-winning shot was the best.
Jumped out of my seat.
I was driving to my client. Okay, I'm in Hollywood, right? I'm driving to my client, and I was yelling "Furman, Furman" out the window. I was screaming because that was so. Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Go Paladins, man. Go
yeah,
Paladins.
hell yeah! Everyone loves to see these upsets.
And then we saw, but unfortunately, on Saturday, the first game, they got the shit beat out of them by San Diego State.
Yeah, bummer.
San Diego State, Sweet 16, shout out Mountain West, only team that won from the Mountain West. Moving on to the bottom of the South Regional, we saw Creighton take down NC State in a good one. That was tight.
Yep.
And then Baylor took down UC Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara was up in that first half. The Baylor Bears got a little scared. And then on Sunday, we saw a juicy one. We saw Baylor and Creighton. And shout out Scott Drew. You know, we respect Scott Drew on this podcast. I think he's a top 10 coach in the nation. Do you?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. The Baylor Bears, they're big, they're athletic. You know, they're led by their guards and LJ Cryer. Adam Flagler, Keontae George. But it wasn't enough against the Blue Jays. Creighton gets it done. They move on to Sweet 16. This is actually their second ever Sweet 16 in program history after they made it in 2021. So they've made it 2 out of the last 3 years, the only time they've ever made the Sweet 16. Ryan Kalkbrenner had a career high 30 against NC State. And then Ryan Nemhard came back against Baylor and had a career high 31. And speaking of the games against Baylor, Creighton shot 22 of 22 from the free throw line, which is tied for the most in the tournament without a miss. I believe Ryan Nemhard was 10 of 10. Damn. So they got it done from the free throw line. I really like Creighton. I had them in the Sweet 16. I don't remember if you did or not.
I did. I had them beating. Nice. I had them beating Baylor. Yeah.
Baylor.
So hell yeah.
Nice. Creighton's a fun team. Creighton's a fun team.
They are.
Shout out Greg McDermott, top 12 coach, top 15.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that. You said there was only 2 Sweet 16s. We'll talk about that.
Talk about it. The bottom of the South, we saw Missouri take down Utah State, and then Princeton upset 2-seeded Arizona in what was probably the second biggest upset after Purdue. Your Boilers get taken down.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Tigers from the Ivy League of Princeton?
I am just very impressed with their defense. Arizona couldn't even get a shot up in that last 4 or 5 minutes.
I'll stop you right there. I'll stop you right there. They didn't even score for the last 4:43. They didn't score a free throw, a bucket, nothing. 4:43.
That's how you lose. But Princeton's defense was for real on that. The Azulis Tabellas just wasn't hitting his shots. And then I saw a couple big blocks on the guards. It's I was sleeping on Princeton. On Princeton. Everyone sleeps on the Ivy League, as well as I'm still going to sleep on the Ivy League. Okay.
Yeah. When we make these picks, yeah.
But good for them. Good for them for proving us wrong this year.
Yeah. Shout out Princeton. You mentioned Azulis Tubelis. Him and Umar Balo had 35 of their 55. So those guards weren't hitting shots. We already see Kirk Risa in the transfer portal. He's already leaving, one of the Wildcats guards. Here's a stat for you, Max. This is the fifth time in school history that Arizona has lost to a team seeded 13th or worse.
Ooh.
No other school has 4 such losses. Wow. Arizona has 5.
Damn.
Lost to a team seeded 13th or worse.
Wow.
Yeah. So this moves us right into our Sweet 16, Max. And I think a huge fun fact of this tournament, out of Alabama, San Diego State, Creighton, and Princeton, only one of these teams has ever been to the Final Four. Trivia time, Max. Trivia time for Yabrowski.
Oh, boy.
Out of Alabama, San Diego State, Creighton, and Princeton, only one of these schools has ever been to the Final Four. Who is it?
Damn. I'm going to go Alabama.
That's a good call. And you think SEC, power conference, but no, it's not Alabama. It's actually the Tigers of Princeton in 1965.
Oh, shit. I would have never guessed. No way.
Nope, I don't. I think that's the biggest nugget for today. 1965, the Princeton Tigers went to the Final Four. Alabama, San Diego State, and Creighton. Never been there. Creighton's never even been to an Elite Eight. So
Right.
they're trying to do something tomorrow on Friday they've never done in school history.
Wow.
I'll be watching that. Let's just get right into Creighton, Princeton tomorrow.
Mhm.
I we've counted out we counted out Princeton twice now. Are you going to do it again?
Yeah, I am. I am sticking. I'm sticking with the Blue Jays on this one.
Yeah.
I I like Creighton better. I think they are the better team, but don't count on Princeton. It's going to be another great game. It will be another great game. Their defense is for real, but yeah, go Blue Jays. Come on.
I'm going to sit here right now on the Don't Tell Mama Sports podcast, and I'm going to tell you Creighton wins by double digits over Princeton.
Oh,
Okay, double digits.
okay, all right.
Okay,
We'll
I'm going
see.
to sit here. I'm going to sit here right now and tell you that. The other Sweet 16 matchup in the South Regional, we got our champion, the Bama boys. They're balling, so we know the shots are falling. And I had the Bama San Diego State matchup. Those Aztecs play defense out of the Mountain West.
Mhm.
And they ain't got anybody to guard Brandon Miller and
Well,
Jaden Bradley, Noah Clowney, and Javon Quinterly, Mark Sears. Alabama moves on to the Elite Eight.
I got Alabama on that. I think in the first half it'll be a good game because the defense of San Diego State. But I mean, Alabama, their first two wins were pretty convincing.
Yeah, pretty satisfying.
Hmm.
Brandon Miller only played 19 minutes in that first game, so they're rested, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, I'm not going off my bracket. I got Alabama in the Final Four. That matchup for us right now would be Alabama and Creighton. I'm not getting off that. Creighton is not deep enough to hang with Alabama,
Hmm.
and they don't have the athletes. So I got Alabama. I'm sticking with the boys. They're balling, so the shots are falling. I got them in the Final Four.
Everyone's got to get a shirt. Don't tell mama. And then the quote: "The boys are balling, so the shots are falling." All right. I also got Bama. I got Bama for they're too good.
Bama's really good. Okay, last region here, the Midwest region. Let's go through this solidly here. Houston took down Northern Kentucky. Shout out Norse. You got your ass beat.
Close
And
game. That was a close game.
oh, I forgot. I can't
Yeah.
remember. Too many games. Too many games. I thought it
Yeah,
was an
yeah, a
ass
lot of
beat.
games, a lot of games.
Sorry.
Houston was struggling a little bit. Sasser went out for the second half, so they were
Yeah.
trying to figure out what they needed to do. Yeah, I mean, like if Northern Kentucky was making their 3-pointers because they had a lot of 3-pointers, that would have been it for them. But ended up
Yeah.
winning, I think, by 11 or 12, but it was closer than that.
Closer than the score. Auburn took down Iowa, and then we saw Houston come back from a halftime deficit and take down Auburn.
Yeah,
That was a very good win for the
that was a good
Cougars
one.
and Kelvin Sampson.
Yeah.
And then we saw Miami take down Drake. Drake was up, I want to say like 8 with 2 minutes to go. I get on the laptop, I start clipping my call of Drake, the Bulldogs, and guess
Yeah.
what? I counted my chickens before they hatched.
Yep.
Miami came back, like you said. People are sleeping on Miami. They move on, and then we saw IU pretty convincingly take down Kent State, and then we saw Miami pretty convincingly take down the Hoosiers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Got anything about that? That was a good pick, Sweet 16
I
pick from you there, Max.
I mean, yeah, Sweet 16 for me with Miami. I kept saying it, like, don't sleep on Miami. Miami's really good. They have three big dogs on the team. Okay, Isaiah Wong is the real deal. They torched IU. IU didn't have a shot, man. Like they're too big, apparently. Trace Jackson Davis, I love you, man. It was fun watching you in college. He's going to the NBA now, but yeah, he couldn't. They couldn't handle him. Miami was all over him. So. Oh yeah, and it's funny because you brought up Miami when they were down by 8 or whether 2 minutes left. I went to go piss. I went to go piss, took my time with it, washed my hands, came back out. They're up by 1. I was
Wash
like,
your
"What?
hands.
How the hell did that happen? What?"
Yeah, just
So,
like that. Just
yep.
like that. I was pissed. Moving on in the Midwest Regional, we saw Pittsburgh coming out of the first four. Good pick by you, taking down the Cyclones. Sorry, Brad. Uh,
Smash
speaking
them.
speak
Smash them.
speaking of smashing, we need to see paddle against a pair of cheeks here soon, Brad. Let's let's be ready for that. And then Xavier took down Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State, the Owls, they had a lead over Xavier. I thought this baby was over. I texted Riley, shout out Riley. She's got the Musket Queefs in her Final Four.
Oh,
But yeah, solid pick by her. But I texted her about these Owls. They had a big lead. What do you think about that game, Max?
Xavier is a really good team. So I had no doubt that they were going to come back and win this one, but Kennesaw almost had it. They almost had it. Another owl? Damn it. I thought owl was
Another owl, two owls. This was the other
two
owl I
owls in
was
the
speaking of.
tournament. They were like first time we were hearing about it. Um,
That's the other owl I was speaking of. Yeah.
uh,
Uh, the head coach, Amir Abdur-Rahim, brother of Sharif. Do you remember Sharif Abdur-Rahim in the NBA? Played for the Vancouver Grizzlies. Played around a little bit, but this is his brother. He took over 4 years ago. First season, they were 1-28. 4 years
oof.
ago, 1-28, and Kennesaw State has been in Division One for 18 years. This is their first winning season. First
Oh,
winning season in 18 years, let alone a tournament berth. So I just want to shout out the Owls of Kennesaw State. Congrats to you. Almost took
yeah,
down Xavier.
yeah.
Moving along, Penn State out of the Big Ten took down Texas A&M. I was
I
wrong on that
wasn't betting
one.
on that.
And then Texas took down Colgate, the toothpaste company. moving back up to that second round, we saw Xavier take down Pitt by 11, I want to say, and then Texas beat Penn State. Penn State took a lead late, but
Hmm.
Texas ended up squeaking that one out.
Yeah.
So that sets up the Sweet 16 matchups in
Quick
the
alert. Sorry, quick alert. Marcus Shrewsbury, if you haven't heard this yet, he is signed with the Notre Dame Irish. So not a bad coach for
yeah
Notre Dame, if you're asking
yeah.
me. I actually like Marcus Shrewsbury.
Shout out Penn State. You win, what was it, 3 games in the Big Ten tournament, and then you win one in the NCAA tournament, and your coach gets paid. So congrats to you, Shrewsbury. I don't know much about you, but welcome to South Bend.
He was the assistant coach for Purdue with Matt Painter for I think 3 seasons, then signed with Penn State, and now he's over at Notre Dame. Hey, I think he's gonna turn the program around.
So he's experienced a lot of March losses if he's been on Matt Painter's bench.
Ouch, ouch.
Max, lead us off here in the Midwest. You have this matchup, Houston and Miami.
Yep.
Boy, this one, the guard matchup, the wing matchup, the bigs in the paint. What you got coming out here, Max?
Best matchup for Houston this season I'm sorry, this dance for sure. But I have Houston. I do have Houston pulling out with it. Marcus Sasser's back. He's okay. He had a great game the previous game. So I think they're full go. They're big. They're really big. You know, Miami's very athletic. Houston's big and quick. So I'm I'm going Houston. I'm going Houston.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Max. I had Miami getting beat by Drake in the first round, and I slept on him. Shout out to Jim Larinaga though. He get this. He has more tournament wins at Miami than Miami had as a school before he got there.
Oh,
Shout out Jim Larinaga.
definitely.
That's a top 10 coach. That's
Heck
a
yeah.
top 10 coach right
Heck yeah. I
there.
like that.
And but sorry, Jim, you're not moving on. I got Houston. Yeah, I hope Jamal Shed and Marcus Sasser are healthy. If
Yep.
they're not, if they're stumbling around, this is already going to be a good game. Miami can win this. If
Yeah.
they're not at 100%, look out.
Yeah.
The other matchup in the Midwest Sweet 16, Texas and Xavier, the 2-3 seed.
Ooh.
I got Texas moving on in my bracket. First off, shout out Texas. First Sweet 16 appearance since 2008. They haven't been to the
Oh, wow.
Sweet 16 since 2008, the
Long
Longhorns.
time.
I got them moving on to the Elite Eight. You know, I love their seniors. I love their athletes. They got to make sure they hit more threes than they did last game.
Mm.
But I got them taking down Xavier. Xavier finally runs out of juice.
I also do have Texas. Don't sleep on Xavier, though. They're 7 deep, or I'm sorry, they are 6 deep, and they have 5 experienced players. So, I mean, but Texas also has experience here. 4 seniors on in their starting lineup. So, I have Texas, but I think it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. And then we both have Texas Houston in our original bracket. And I'm sticking. Why would I get off my bracket a week after doing it? I'm sticking with the Longhorns of Texas out of the Big
Hey,
12 to move on to the Final Four.
nice. How about that? I also have the Texas Longhorns making the Final Four, making a Final Four run here. I think Texas, they play better. Well, actually, Houston plays really good defense too. Oh man, that's a matchup you want to see is Texas versus Houston in Texas. Like a Texas
Oh
rivalry
man, State
to try to
War,
go home
State
to
War.
Houston. It's going to be a good one. But yeah, let's go Longhorns.
Heck yeah. Well, that that concludes our podcast for this week, the Sweet 16 March Madness podcast, boys and girls, of the Don't Tell Mama Sports Podcast. Max, I just want to review some Final Four teams here. I got three left. Okay, I got Alabama, Michigan State, and Texas still remaining. I was a queef and took my Jayhawks. So I'm
And,
missing one. Max, can you review us on your Final Four?
yes, I am also missing one because I was a big, fat, juicy, sweaty, gooch-filled jelly queef and chose
Gooch
Purdue.
filled jelly queen.
Oh my gosh, that sucks. Why? All my stats kept on telling me, don't you can't choose Purdue. Like the stats it's not working out for them. It's not even in the second round. I was like, it's not looking good here. Not
Oh,
looking good. But I had to because I just have passion for my team. Uh, anyway, so Purdue's out, but so I have Alabama still, I have Texas, and I have Gonzaga in my Final Four left. Come on, let's go Zags, let's go Longhorns, and let's go Bama. Come on.
hell yeah. Hell yeah. If I had to replace my Final Four team there, I would actually put the Bulldogs and Mark Few into my Final Four. And my championship game is still there. I got Alabama over Texas. Max, who would you replace in that East region for Purdue right now with these four teams remaining?
Oh man,
Yep.
I mean, it's so fun I mean, technically today I chose Michigan State, right? But I don't know if I was going to make that pick. I based on all the stats and everything. Uh, I might have rided with Kansas State if I had a chance. I
Oh,
might have
take it.
rode with Kansas State, but
Switching your picks in the same podcast. Switching
I'm
your
just
picks
basing
up.
it off of if I'm thinking about when I was taking stats, I might have went with Kansas State.
Okay.
But
And
that's all I got. Yeah.
and your championship matchup of Alabama over Gonzaga is still alive.
Yes. Still
So
alive. I think it's gonna be a good matchup.
I can't wait. I got Alabama over Texas. Max, great talking to you this week, broski. I can't wait for these games. These games start in in about
Hour
less than
15.
about 75. Yeah, about
Yeah.
75 minutes here
So we're gonna
with
definitely got to
with
get this
Michigan.
posted before. Hopefully we can get it out there for you guys before then. But
Definitely,
if
definitely.
not, then obviously sorry.
Well, we lead us off here with this Michigan State Kansas State game, and that's one of the juicier ones of the Sweet 16. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Max, you got anything for the people before we go on the Don't Tell Mama Sports podcast? Subscribe on YouTube, please.
Yes, please subscribe, comment. We love that the feedback that we're getting from everybody. Everyone has some things to talk about. I love it.
Oh
Come
yeah,
on, to bring on some
definitely.
shit talk too. I'm all about the shit
Yeah.
talk.
Let us
Uh,
know. Let us know why we're wrong. Let us know why
yeah,
we're wrong.
sure. Come on. We're open to debate here. Okay, we'll have a
Please.
friendly debate. We're not going to judge you. We're not going to judge you
No.
for your opinion. Okay, you like
Yeah.
something else? So what? So what?
Whatever.
Bring. Let's go. But but hey, thank you for coming out and listening to us. We appreciate you guys so much. And hey, always here on the Don't Tell Mama podcast. We love you and don't tell your mama. Don't tell your mama about this. Okay, come
Don't
on.
tell her.
Come on.
Don't tell
She's
her.
probably gonna get upset. She's probably gonna get upset. She's probably a Boilers fan.
Oh.
My mom's a Boilers fan. She's probably very upset right now.
Yeah, yeah, I bet she's upset. I bet she's upset about it. My mom was a little shocked and upset by it too, but don't tell her. Don't tell her about this podcast.
No need to rub it in her nose about it.
No.
Don't tell her about this.